All right. Well, the message is pretty clear. South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace, Republican from South Carolina, joins me now to discuss. Representative Mace, you seems like you've thrown down the gauntlet. What exactly? What's the message here? That is this the rules are confusing there, or you think that, to your point, and I've also read you said this might be an insane power grab?
Absolutely, Charles. I walked into my D.C. office on Thursday morning to read that the Capitol Hill police were directed by Nancy Pelosi to arrest staffers and visitors on Capitol Hill who were not wearing a mask. This was an insane, crazy power grab by Nancy Pelosi. This is about politics and control and not about public health. I can't think of a worse idea right now than to threaten to arrest American citizens for not wearing a mask. And rather than have these arguments about mask wearing and not mask wearing, we should be pushing vaccinations. I had a really terrible bout with COVID-19. I had long COVID and I'm vaccinated. We need to make sure that we're getting people who need access to vaccinations to get it, having the right conversations. This is the wrong message to send to the American people that you could be arrested for not wearing a mask.
What also compounds for me is this week and also before, when there was also these restrictions and mask mandates there, you see so many politicians who don't wear them. You see events where particularly Democrats gather and none of them are wearing masks. And it's rules for you or rules for thee, but not for me. And that complicates the situation. Certainly, I must make you even more frustrated.
Absolutely. And you could see photos of Nancy Pelosi yesterday afternoon having a press conference without a mask on. It's say as I do, not do as I say. And early on in COVID and throughout last year, I was asking people, put on the mask. We're trying to do the best we can. We don't have a lot of data and information. And the other thing, the other one of my frustrations is right now is we're getting guidance from the CDC, but this data, we don't have the data or good studies on what's working and what's not. For me personally, I'm taking certain precautions. I'm not shaking hands right now. I'm fist bumping. That's about as far as I'll go. I'm washing my hands. I'm trying to stay distant. But to arrest people, if you're going to arrest someone for wearing a mask, are you then going to arrest them for not getting vaccinated? It's the wrong message if these spikes are happening across the country. And the Hill is not a hot spot either. 85% of individuals on Capitol Hill are vaccinated. That doesn't take into account the number of individuals who also had COVID-19. We've got to set a good example for the American people. We have to stop politicizing COVID-19. We have to encourage people to get vaccinated, and particularly ensuring there's vaccine access in rural and low-income areas where there is vaccine hesitancy. And I can't think of a worse idea to encourage vaccine efficacy by telling people, well, they got to wear a mask outside if you're vaccinated to protect people who are unmasked. That message doesn't work.
Representative Mace, what do you say, though, the folks who say, well, you're trying to create a sort of situation where it doesn't have to exist and that you're baiting Speaker Pelosi? I assume you're going to continue what you're doing, and to your point in the video, come get me. You've drawn a line in the sand. You're going to keep it there?
Right, absolutely. If her line in the sand is that you're going to be arrested, that is a very dangerous precedent for the United States of America. That is something that communist China does. There has to be a balance of freedom and also protecting the public health. I'm doing my job as a lawmaker, encouraging vaccinations, working with public health officials to ensure people have appropriate data in different counties where they live in my district, ensuring that people in my district know where they can get vaccinated, working with public health officials to get them into rural areas and low-income areas where there is vaccine hesitancy, working with community groups to share with people that you can get vaccinated. Getting vaccinated today could very well save your life, because those who are becoming sick with COVID-19 with the Delta variant and hospitalized and dying are ones that are unvaccinated.
I've got less than a minute to go. Let me just ask you about the business, the people's business, if you will. How are we looking with this infrastructure deal, the debt ceiling, and everything else? I mean, it feels like Congress waits to the last minute to get all these things done. There's a lot of horse trading, a lot of finger pointing. What specifically does the infrastructure bill look like right now?
Well, the infrastructure bill, I haven't seen it. Don't know that it's even written at this point. We do know some of the basic outlines of the deal. The thing that we don't know is how it's going to be paid for. Are they going to raise taxes to pay for it in the middle of the pandemic on hardworking Americans? That's my biggest question right now. And one of the largest expenditures in the infrastructure package would go towards Amtrak. rather than some of the other infrastructure pieces. Also, electrical vehicle charging stations. The government doesn't need to be in business. That is private industry. That's taking an entire sector of the energy industry away from businesses and entrepreneurs. So I have some questions, but my biggest question is, how do we pay for it?
Yeah, and I keep hearing there's less and less road in there the more they keep fiddling around with it. Representative Mace, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Always. Thank you, Charles.